Esa boleh binaka valo bina karna dola pula neta bismode pula say mone salu lola boleh binaka dola valo bina boleh binaka wanga tambu 679 sande oti na ba mau iya tabula boleh besar ne tabula binaka iya pabrik naksaran vale bikum ni na siya matikumay tos juga nonda Talanoa and nunggu bata-batang goa and Talanoa with Dr. T on Instagram, so just really targeting the young people, the youths, so if you are over 20 iyo do pula bina kami serne gula memendelai akbali buna sama cikumai. So this platform will have to speak in English and Fijian, as I always say to those of you who have joined me in the past, that this is a platform for those who don't speak Fijian. I understand my platform on Talanoa with Dr. T on Facebook, I speak Fijian from the starting to the end of the program. But this session or this platform are for those who are of mixed heritage, because I know a lot of my friends who come here who come to this platform, they are Rotumans or Indians or part Chinese or even Europeans, those who are married to Fijians. So this is the reason why I do this program for that particular purpose. And one of the topics that I want to talk about today is to do with knowing your roots back home and knowing your Mataqali, your Yavusa, and your ITokatoka. So for the last couple of sessions, I've been talking about our identity, the importance of being a Fijian. One thing is knowing I'm from Fiji, but what else do you need to know? Because it's beautiful for you to know, to say, oh yes, I'm Fijian, but what else? What else that is there for me to know? And that's why I'm creating this platform, is to encourage our young people to know more about themselves and, talk about topics that, really is critical for your identity. One thing is just knowing about it, but another one is actually finding the value of knowing your Mataqali, your Yavusa, and your ITokatoka. And that's why a lot of young ones that I teach over the years, I think they don't see the connection, or even they ask the question, so if I know my ITokatoka, my Mataqali, and my Yavusa, what is there for me? So the answer is there's a lot there for you. And particularly for young people, you will be the future of Fiji. You will be the ones leading your Matavuvale, you'll be the one leading your Koro, you'll be the one leading your Yavusa, ITokatoka, and Mataqali. And if you don't know that now, then how will your children and your grandchildren know about it? And this is actually where a lot of cultures, they lose a lot of their indigenous knowledge, when the young people don't know the information that they need to know. So I'm going to share with you what I was sharing with the previous sessions. Let me see here. Okay. So this was the first chart I was sharing a few weeks ago. Naidhangu, where you from, ngonini, and then you say where you're from in Fiji, nomu Koro, na nomu Koronivasu, watake na nomu Matanitu. So which of the confederacy you're from. And then this one here is what we will talk a little bit deeper today. Na nongo ya sana, nongo tikina, na nongo Yavusa, na nongo Mataqali, watake na nongo ITokatoka. Okay, so this is the discussion that we will be sharing today. Nikua. And so, the question comes in terms of the relevance, or knowing all these things, what is the purpose or what is the benefit it is to me, you may ask. So for me, knowing this, it connects straight away to land ownership. So knowing the land that your family belong to, either your Mataqali, your ITokatoka, your Mataqali, and your Yavusa. Some of you are logging in from overseas, and even those who are logging in from Fiji, they may be logging in from the towns and the cities. Lambasa, Melotoka, Suba, Sikatoka, Nandinosur, you name it. And most of the time, those of us who work in the field of heritage, we've seen that there's a disconnect between those who live in the cities and those who live in the village. So when I say disconnect, that means that maybe you can go to the village once every year during the December, January time period for holiday, but do you actually know your village? How much do you know about yourself? That's the most important question. Knowing your land boundaries, knowing your where the boundaries for your Koro or your ITokatoka is. Most of the time, we often go to the village, and it's especially if it's during Christmas and New Year time, everyone is just having a good time. Ngunyangona, tarlala, ngunumburu, whatever that you have fun, the usual fun, takaimbitu, all those things. But what I want to encourage those of you, the young ones particularly who are listening in today, next time you go to the village, try and identify one of your uncles or someone that you trust and know in the village who knows your land boundaries, so that you can actually physically go to the mountains, Nomutete, all these places where you have connections to. It may be on a piece of paper. So we will also talk about the Volini Kambula today. I will have to ask questions to everybody who's logging in today. How many of you know if you are registered in the Volini Kambula? Those of you who are of Fijian heritage. Those of you who are Fijian heritage. I want you to wave or put your thumbs up on the screen if you know that you are registered in the Volini Kambula, which is a land registration that the Native Land Commission administers in Fiji. So that's the most important question. And this goes for both young women and young men. So those of you who are acknowledging the question, that is very good. So that's the first step. So if any of you who's listening in maybe kind of not aware, they don't know they don't know whether you are registered in the Volini Kambula, maybe this is time that you need to talk to your family, talk to your mom, talk to your dad, because someone older than you has to register you in the Volini Kambula, and it doesn't take long. So if you're already in Fiji, please make sure you go to the I think the Fijian, the office now is in Nasoba, close to where the government house is, towards Nasese. So where the Ministry of Itoke Affairs is. I think it's on the first floor, on one of the buildings there. So make an effort. Make an effort to register your name. For those of you young ones who are here, some of you are parents. I can tell those of you, some of you listening in, and maybe young parents don't procrastinate. Yeah, don't procrastinate. Make sure you register your children. Yeah, so your children, they can be born in Thailand, on Greenland, in Alaska, yeah, or in America, wherever you live. If you have a child and you are Fijian, this is, I'm talking to both women and men, young men, make sure you register your children to the Volendikambul. Okay, so that's the first step. Second step is for you to make sure not just to be on paper, but for you as a father and for you as a mother listening in, for you to tell your child where they're from. Yeah, because a lot of times these days we are so distracted. Yeah, so many of us are so distracted in lots of ways. Distracted on social media, So the question we have right now is, how much time do you spend with your children? Yeah, some of you may be living overseas and your children are in Fiji. Okay, so remember, one day you will get old. Yeah? And the ones who will look after you are those children that you have in Fiji. Okay, so that's something that I want to encourage. That for those of us who are young parents now, so one day your children, they will be the one that will be looking after you. Secondly, they will have to know their Koro. They have to know their village. They have to know their Kornivasu. Oh, Binakabalev Salome. Absolutely. See? So Salome is sharing here that her son was born in Sydney, Australia, and he was registered in the Volendikambul. Well done. Congratulations. So this is a wonderful reminder, for all of us that we call ourselves iTokatoka. I have to say that we are actually blessed as Fijians all over the world, if you get to listen to this video, that we have a register that connects you and your child to your vanua. Yeah? You may be living in Sydney, I live in Hawaii, there's others living in other parts of the world. Today, 2020, you may be thinking, there's no point in that. One day, the time will come when you will have to know the importance of connecting to your vanua. And not only us as adults, your children need to know. So Salome, so make sure Salome, take your child to his village. So it's a challenge. It's a challenge for those of us who live overseas, especially now that is COVID-19. But that was something that we did as parents, myself and my husband, when the children were younger. My son was 5 years old. He was born in New Zealand. And my daughter was 7. She was 1 when we left for New Zealand. But we made sure that we take them to Fiji every other year. So they can have their connections. So they know their Koro, and get them to, go to the farm. Were, Goli, Siwa. It's nice to go to the, you can come back, have a little bit of a relaxation time in Sheraton, then around, and then you can fly back. Oh, Vinaka Salon. That's wonderful. So the more, you take your children back home to where they belong and make them connect with their people. It's very important that they know their tutua, they know their tatai, their bumbu, their tutu, their nei, their momo, nana levu, nene levu. The Nita, all those relations. One day it'll come in handy. So that's something that I want to really reiterate to us. So that's a wonderful reminder for everybody listening in, is to not to forget our children. Sometimes I think, I speak from experience, sometimes we parents, we are very selfish. We think of ourselves only. What is good for me? So the question is, how much time will you wait to take your children to their island or to their village, their Koro? So Salome is sharing here, you're so blessed. You get off the airport and Nakavu is right there. So for us, I'm from Kandavu, we have to either go on the boat, go to Suva, book for a boat, and then go to Kandahar. So it takes a long time to actually organize the travel. But I just want to encourage that connection back to your core. It's very important for us to do that. The other point I want to share today, especially those of you who are living overseas, is continue to teach your children to speak Fijian. Okay? So even if they are full Fijian, so their father is Fijian and you are Fijian, speak Fijian to your children. And even if their father is from Australia or from New Zealand and you are Fijian as a mother, still talk to them in Fijian. Yeah, because that way you are actually giving them confidence. You're giving them confidence to identify who they are. Yeah? It's also good for them to speak English. This is the time that we can live in 2, 3 worlds, 4 worlds, you name it. How many other worlds you live in? But if you allow your children to start speaking the language now, then you're actually giving them an advantage in the future. So we have to think 5, 10, 15 years ahead of time. So Salome says that the son is 5 years old. Is that right, Salome? So, next 5 years he's 10. He'll be aware of his Koro, of his surrounding. Another 5 years he'll be 15. And then another 5 years he's 20. Time goes very, very fast. Yeah? And yes, definitely, Fiona. Yeah, speak and read in Fijian. Yeah, teach, read and speak in Fijian. Yeah, so that's another challenge that I see with many of our young parents, not only young parents, even older parents living overseas. And it's good, but total nesta ne binaka merakilai. So that's a wonderful challenge I want to put out there. And also the reading. Willy Ball. Read in Fijian. So one thing is hearing and understanding. That's one. 2 is speaking. Another one is reading. Willy Ball. And the other one, the 4, is writing in Fijian. So all of that has to kind of happen. But obviously it's not going to happen overnight. You have to give yourself time. So Salome, who's sharing here that she has taken the liberty of taking her son to Fiji when he was 5, and then now he's 11. So maybe he's due for another visit. So the more you get your children to reconnect with their vanua, the better it is for them. So we have to think of them too. So that there's no disconnect. And I recall there was a story of a family in New Zealand. These parents took their children to Fiji. But when they went to Fiji, their children were all born in New Zealand. So they don't speak any word of Fijian. So when they came over to Fiji, their grandmother was like maybe in her 80s, 70s to 80s. And obviously their grandmother couldn't speak English. And so as much as the grandmother wanted to hug and talk to the grandsons, they couldn't communicate. Because she can only speak her dialect. Isang manangan ikilaw ko na po sa baka mbao. Sangay chuka na ruto na lang Menisland. They don't even know any word of Fijian. And so they were caught in between where these two worlds were clashing. They only speak in English, and there was communication breakdown. So when they came back to New Zealand, they really wanted to learn to speak Fijian. So that's something that we really need to that's wonderful. So those of you who also know their dialect at home, and maybe they're not like responding to you like how you wanted them to respond, but children are children. Their brains are like sponges. They are actually absorbing everything you say. So don't underestimate the power of their brains. They know and they will remember everything you're teaching them. It's not in vain. It's never going to be in vain. They will remember. So this is like your gift to them. Maybe at this time you're telling them something, no was chukuba bitsi, se was chukuba no mo was ni sudu, lamai, tambera, se mo was nga balalay babira, mera was chukmi babalani. That's a good start. Tobole chukna, tobole. Sana lakalak nga air sana kila. Lakalak nga misar kila. Hey, bisa motor bileti. Sambil ko ulit tubi, tambera. Lakalak ko tumay na kaya. Sana was chukuba air sana tobole sana tombokach. It's better that they know something about their language than nothing at all. Because that's the example that I'm sharing from that particular family that I spoke to in New Zealand. And that's why it really pushed me to start teaching the Bosa community and using the digital platform. As you all know, I have a YouTube channel. Please subscribe. Do this for your child. Subscribe, and if you already have a Gmail, if you click the button subscribe, you just subscribe automatically. So please, I really want to encourage you. I've already put up nursery rhymes, I've already put up some stories, I've put up some music and some langasere and some interviews. Some are in Fijian, some are in English. Use it. Go there, and it's all for free. It's all for free. So I just want you to please utilize any platform you have now to teach your children the language and the culture. See, these two goes together. When I say culture, it might mean, teaching them how to sit. In Koro, we don't sit on the table on the dambe, all the time. Most of the time, they will run Americana and dambira. So you have to teach your children how to sit on the ground, on the floor. Because it's not something that we are born with. You have to teach them. Teach them how to dress. When they go in the village, they cannot be wearing tights or shorts, or short skirts, especially for girls. Even for boys, you're not allowed to be wearing vests and things like that in the village. It's always good to wear t-shirt or shirt, cover your body when you're going around the village, because your sisters are around, they see you. Most of the time we think the rules that we put in the Koro is only for girls. No, it's for boys too. Because you have your sisters that are also in the village. You cannot be walking around with a pair of shorts showing your legs and your muscles. So it's based on respect. You cannot be doing that. So it's a kind of a summary and a reminder for all of us. So I just want to kind of encourage the young parents that are listening in, Bosa Bakaviti, Willy Bola Bakaviti, Bola Bola Bakaviti, and Willy Bola Bakaviti. The more we read, the more we write, the more we speak, and the more we hear, the better they're learning and understanding it will be. So that's something that I want to encourage everybody today. Want to acknowledge Fiona, who's logging in and listening in today from Melbourne. They are doing Fiji Book Drive. Fiji Book Drive, a wonderful project that they are doing in terms of taking books, quality books, high quality books, to libraries all over Fiji, to schools all over Fiji. So I really want to acknowledge Fiona and her team of volunteers who give their energy and their time. So they're actually doing a fundraising right now. They're doing a fundraising. They need to raise 10,000 Australian dollars to do more programs and develop resources in the Fijian language in Fiji. So for those of you who are from Fiji, absolutely. If they know their own dialect, absolutely. Any language that they are familiar with, so nangone sora susube imbunda. Kailangan na bossa bakatabuli the bira na maramambunda. Go for it. Don't be nak ngori di So I think for children, the more languages or dialects they know, the good it is for the brain. That's one thing a lot of scientists have studied, that for bilingual, trilingual children, or even 4 more languages that a child knows, the better it is for the stimulation of the brain. And they actually do well in school, apparently. See? So some of us, like, we worry. One thing I hear even here in Hawaii, and even for the New Zealand Maoris, because I lived in New Zealand, there was that notion that their parents have to teach them English so that their children can succeed. Yeah? So their children can succeed. So that's something for us to think about. So when you say somebody succeeds or gains success and you lose your own language, then there's something wrong in that equation. To me, I'm thinking it's better off that you take your Wasanisudu, your grandmother who raised you, use her dialect, whatever dialect you may be. You grew up in Lambasa and you know the mother dialect, and you're from Kandavu, learn and appreciate your mother dialect. You're from Kandavu, also add in the Kandavu dialect in there as well. Yes, the more you know, it doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm from Vanua, I only need to know. No. Embrace every culture and every language that is given to you, that you not only given, that you come across. Yeah, so that's something that I wanna, give that challenge. Yeah, so don't limit yourself in the language. Don't just think, oh, what's nga ba kambao? Yeah? The what's ba kambao is kind of like the starting point. It's the doorway. And for those of us who live overseas, Menta po sa bakambao, sa kilala po sa bakambao, batara po sa bakambao, baka raw-raw, Nagilak kayo na po sa banan nga, beber no. Nagibelak kayo ni na po sa maduata, takaunro, bembua, retok. Mido man nga na po no, motikburak. And sometimes we procrastinate. Well, who doesn't? I procrastinate too in certain things. So maybe this can be the encouragement that I can give you. Go for it. Whatever language and dialect that is promoted at home, take it, embrace it, and go for it. That's something that is important. So not only just the language, but also include the indigenous knowledge. The indigenous knowledge that is associated with it. Nanonday tovo, nanonday sulusulu, nanonday dambendambe, nakakanan de kileterikin, nanonday ika, nanonday manumanu. It's a very holistic way of embracing your identity. Language is just one very small, very tiny speck of knowing who you are. You need to have all of the other things associated with it. Language is like the key, the key to unlock that door, for you to be able to, for you to be able to have access to this indigenous knowledge. To me, it's like a gift that is given by our ancestors. So that was like the inspiration, the encouragement that I had with me today on the Talanoa with Dr. T. Fridays at 7. So I hope that we can make this a weekly thing. So it's a Friday here in Hawaii. Yes, it's a Friday at 7 o'clock here in Hawaii. So I know it's Saturday on the other side of the dateline, and in the US, and I think in the UK it's early in the morning. I think 5:43. So they're just waking up on the other side. Iyo. Pasar ngaya, andong bula binaka may Hong Kong, bula Fiji Loving, bula Lala Shirley. Thank you for logging in today, Arti. Shivanjani, thank you so much for logging in and listening to my sharing today. So just encouraging those of you who have ancestry going back to Fiji. I was talking about the importance of knowing your registering your children in the Boleni Kaumbula. Oh, Bolebinaka Fiji Museum. Thank you for connecting in. Naka, Vinaka Fiji Loving, I'm glad that you enjoying the videos that I put up on my YouTube channel. Please subscribe. Everybody that is listening to me now, subscribe. I know I've got a huge following, and I'm really humbled about it. Following on Facebook, also on Instagram, but I need the same number on my YouTube channel. Please subscribe on my YouTube channel, and it's all free. So we give our time and our energy to share everything for everyone. Oh, Naka Fiji Book Drive. Fiona? Yeah. Yeah. So just to end my Talanoa today, I'd just like to say that come 2021, Vinaka Fiji Loving, appreciate that you subscribed. Fiona, please subscribe. I'm going to check. Josiah, subscribe. Everybody that is here, I'm going to record all your names. Leo, subscribe. Fiji Museum, Salome, going through the list of names. Sepa, Shirley Lala, Arti, Dibale, or Dibambe. Is that how you, Dindambe? Oh, yeah. So, Fiatama, everybody's on Wati. Please subscribe on my YouTube channel. I'll really appreciate it. Anyway, for 2021, I will be running online classes, private classes, but I will be doing it in groups. Groups of 10. Okay? So if you are wanting to learn the Vosavakaviti, 2021, if you want to make it as your New Year's resolution, please work with a few of your friends or cousins. We'll do it that way. And I will take groups of 10s. There will be 3 types of classes: beginners, intermediate, and advanced. So the beginners are those who don't know any Vosavakaviti at all. So I'd love to work with you. There will be groups of classes like that. Secondly, intermediate, those who know their Vosavakaviti and maybe they left to go overseas when they were little and you're trying to reconnect back to your roots. I will be happy to accommodate you on your journey. Advanced is for those who are of Fijian heritage, who knew everything. You can speak the language, but they need to know indigenous information, indigenous knowledge. The Vengarangareba Vanua, na itutu baka Vanua, na tukutuk Macau ke biti, na tukutuk ng Ningele, Ngolingol, Kabaya. That will be in the advanced set of classes. So what I'm doing is, that's what I'm doing right now. I've got groups of classes in Sydney. So Vavini Vinakabe in Bulo Sunguta. So where is Sunguta, who's been really the backbone behind the Sydney group classes. We have 2 classes, children and adults. So I separate them. So the younger, the little ones, if only 30 minutes long, the classes. And it's fun. We sing, we do skits, we do whatever. It's fun. We do worksheets, drawings, everything. And then for the adults, it's for about 45 minutes to an hour. So I really want to encourage those of you, and I will put up the cost for it. So so please sign up. We will put up the flyer for the 3 classes, 3 sets, and we will have groups of classes in different parts of the world. So there will be groups in Sydney, there will be groups in England, there will be groups in Europe, in America, in New Zealand. So at the moment I've got a group of classes happening in England, in 2 groups in England, 1 group in New Zealand, and 2 groups in Australia, in Sydney. So a good time, good time to learn the Vosavakaviti when we are on quarantine. What a beautiful way to do it. Yes, Fiji Loving, you can start a group in Asia. Why not? Yeah. And so some of the students that I've spoken to, they've mentioned, they're very shy. They want to just have a private class. I don't mind that. But the ones that were shy, when they start meeting other Kaiviti from around the world or, within their shyness just disappear. And you learn from each other and you get to know one another. You have friends that you get to meet, you wouldn't have met them if you didn't take my class. Yeah. So there you go. So Fiji Loving, if you want to start a cluster of learners in Asia, please do. Set it up, organize 10 of you, 10 people, and then message me. And I can organize classes for those of you who are listening. In the Middle East, I don't mind. Anywhere around the world, really. Yeah, so the clusters are really, really good because, I'm a teacher. I also teach here at the university, so I've got time. I need time to do my grading and preparing for my classes, writing books, writing articles. So I've got my other life. But if I can be able to organize classes in clusters like that, it's so much easier for me. And a lot of people will learn more, and it's so much fun. I tell you, a lot of people who are learning, in groups, they are now best friends, like for life. Yeah, and so we create some Facebook Messenger chat groups, and then we share information there. Tutu vanua, the wuti, nanumuya sana, and we share music, films, books, that are associated with the topic of the week, and we go from there. Yeah. And so when I was in New Zealand in 2015, I started taking students to Fiji. So we go to Namosi for 10 days. Not only Namosi, you get to visit other places around Suva. We took students to USP. We did our same in VCC, Bunda. It was really nice to meet the Tui Bunda and meet the beautiful people of Bunda in VCC. Such a wonderful, and I just want to acknowledge the Thembaivalu family, to Mr. Iliesa and Andy Unesi Thembaivalu and their son Rusiate for being such wonderful hosts to all the groups that I brought over to Fiji. Yeah, so we went to the Fiji Museum, USP, also acknowledging, different, the Valenimbosi, unfortunately, the one that just got burnt down. So we went to different places around Fiji, around Suva. I think one other group we went to the Singatoka sand dunes. Get the students to enjoy some of our heritage sites and things like that. So yeah, so I just want to do that encouragement today. Vinaka Levu for logging in to my live. My apologies that I didn't start on time. But definitely every Friday, 7 o'clock Hawaiian time, look forward to see many of you logging in and just have a short Talanoa like this. Yeah? So I just want to say Vinaka Levu for stopping by. Malo, bakabini binakasara ni bikim ni Kersar, Binandu Riki, Malaka Levu, Manako Saka, Vinaka Bakalev Sara na Semati Kumai, and a Vitalanongo, Wabini Binaka Chukano, Sana Bakamotala ni bikim ni, and the Langay Sotatale and a singer Bakarombu Katumai. Vinaka Levu, ni mo de mata. Sa Wabini Binaka yan,